Dative pronouns and dative endings are overrated in German courses. If you've been following me for a while, you might know that I believe we need to classify German grammar by what is super essential, the things that we absolutely need to know in order to be understood, and then the vast majority of grammar, which is nice to know so you understand how the language functions, but you don't need to apply the rules correctly, at least until you're at a B1 or B2 level or something like that, when you want to fix all the details. You can check this out, this concept, at my survival guide to German grammar. But I'd say there that dative endings and dative pronouns are really not among the essential things. Now, there is a specific set of expressions in the German language, though, that makes it difficult for you if you don't know how to apply dative correctly. And I'm going to walk you through these and explain also how you might avoid them if you think that this is too difficult for you. So there is a difference in meaning when we combine a person with an adjective, whether we put this person in dative or whether the person is in the basic form like nominative, as we call it. Let me show you an example. Ich bin kalt versus mir ist kalt. Okay, ich bin kalt, nominative, mir ist kalt. I put myself in the dative, mir, the dative pronoun of ich. And the difference in meaning is that when I say mir ist kalt in the dative, I'm freezing. I'm feeling cold. Whereas when I say ich bin kalt, then that means I'm a cold person. I'm rude. I don't have a lot of empathy. I'm not lovable. I'm just an annoying person, something like that. Okay. So you see there's a huge difference in meaning. And this applies to many other adjective combinations. The same, for example, if you want to say mir ist warm. Okay. So yeah, it's, you want to sit in a t-shirt, right? But if you say ich bin warm, well, we don't really say that so much. We would rather say ich bin warmherzig, but it means like I'm a kind person, I'm a lovable person, the opposite of ich bin kalt. Mir ist heiß, that means I'm really sweating, it's super hot. When I say ich bin heiß, it means I'm sexually attractive. So you might want to be a little bit careful with that when you're talking about yourself in that way. I mean, maybe you are, but you might not want to advertise yourself in that way in Germany. So these are the words with a temperature, and then we can also apply it to a couple of other adjectives. Langweilig. Mir ist langweilig versus ich bin langweilig. You get the idea. Mir ist langweilig. It means I'm feeling bored. Ich bin langweilig. I'm a boring person. So again, it's something you might not want to mix up. We would also say it about schlecht. Mir ist schlecht. It means I'm feeling bad. Yeah, I ate something wrong, something like that. And yeah, mir ist schlecht. Ich bin schlecht means I am bad at something, at German grammar, at playing poker, whatever. Mir ist übel means about the same as mir ist schlecht, but ich bin übel, it means I'm an evil person. Okay, so it's pretty harsh. It's not something we use a lot, by the way. It's a little bit like ich bin warm. We don't really say it, but if you say it in that way, then that's what it means. It doesn't mean that you're feeling bad or that you're feeling sick. And the last one, gut, mir ist gut. It means like you're feeling good, you're in a good mood. Ich bin gut, it means, yeah, I'm good at something again. I'm good at German grammar, German pronunciation, or whatever. So, of course, for all of these expressions, you need to know the dative pronouns. Yeah, you need to say, mir ist langweilig, dir ist langweilig, ihm ist langweilig, ihr ist langweilig, uns ist langweilig, and so on. You need all these pronouns. You need to say them correctly. If you cannot say them, then you might mix up the two expressions and you might produce misunderstandings, and that's not very nice. So maybe you want to avoid these expressions from time to time, and actually you can. It's relatively easy. So to say the things about the temperature, you can just say es ist, yeah? Es ist kalt instead of mir ist kalt. You just say it generally. Of course, there's a nuance in the difference in meaning. When you say es ist kalt, it's just a general statement. It's more objective. Where you say mir ist kalt, it's like subjective. Maybe it's not that cold, but I'm just feeling cold for whatever reason, because I didn't eat so much, or because I freeze very easily, or maybe you come from a warm country and you're not used to German temperatures, something like that. But it's really just a nuance. So if you're struggling with dative pronouns, totally fine to say es ist kalt instead of mir ist kalt. Yeah? Es ist warm instead of mir ist warm. Es ist heiß instead of mir ist heiß. Es ist langweilig. You can say that also. The problem with schlecht and übel, that doesn't work. Unfortunately, here you either really have to say mir ist schlecht, or what you can say is ich fühle mich schlecht, okay? Then you have accusative. So if you know the accusative pronouns, and I would argue that the accusative pronouns are actually important, then you can use this expression instead. So instead of saying mir ist schlecht, you can say ich fühle mich schlecht. Ich fühle mich gut, ich fühle mich übel. This one we wouldn't say so much, but still I understand very well what you want to say. But if you're a bit curious, some more background information about this expression, mir ist kalt or dir ist kalt. Where does it even come from? Well, if you understand how dative works, dative is the case that gives something to you, okay? So the universe, or we don't know who, God, the weather, gives you cold, okay? Mir ist kalt. It's coming to me from the outside. I don't have influence on it. It happens to me. It's something that comes from my environment. It's a bit philosophical, but that's how dative works in all of the languages, by the way, that have dative. English, unfortunately, or fortunately, depends on whether you want to learn it or whether you admire the richness of a language. English lost it. One thing you cannot do with these expressions is use a name instead of a pronoun, because names or even nouns, if they are not combined with an article, we wouldn't put them in a dative. So if you want to say Katrin ist kalt, then it's not really clear. Do you mean that she's a cold person or that she is feeling cold? Okay, so here you would have to avoid it, or you would have to say something like Katrin sagt, es ist kalt, or es ist ihr kalt. You could say that. But it's not clear. So if it's not clear from the context, you should avoid these expressions. Or if you live in Bavaria, you might know that we always use the definite article with a first name. So then we would say der Katrin ist kalt, dem Thomas ist kalt. But that's dialectal, we cannot write it. But then in Bavaria, it's not an issue because we can put the articles into dative case, and then we know which of the two expressions we want to say, whether we want to say that Katrin is a cold person or whether we want to say that she's freezing. So again, I believe dative pronouns are not super essential, but beware of these expressions. If you think that you manage to use dative pronouns, well, then use these expressions. They're nice, they're beautiful, they're very common in German. But if you're not at that level yet, you might want to avoid them. And as I said, you can just avoid them by saying es ist kalt, for example, or ich fühle mich schlecht.